Saint Etienne are an English band who were formed in 1990 and are still going with three members. They've had no member changes, although at the start there was just two of them. They were part of the 90s indie dance scene. I don't know what they'd be considered as being part of now, but they have released 11 studio albums, including one this year, which is 2024. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the debut album by Saint Etienne. And at this point, their long-term member and singer, Sarah Cracknell, was not an official part of the band, although she did sing on most of the songs on this album. So their original intention apparently was to work with a range of singers, although Sarah Cracknell is on most of these tracks. Moira Lambert is the singer on the track Only Love Can Break Your Heart, which is actually one of their best known singles and is a cover of a Neil Young song. So I would describe this, well, it's been variously described as alternative dance and indie pop. I would say that this is partly rooted, and it's certainly electro backing, but it's partly rooted in rave and techno stuff, and other things that come under the banner of house. But also quite a bit, I'm going to mention acid jazz here, which was an electronic music genre towards the end of the 80s and into the early 90s, which is heavily sample based and groove based backing, with snatches of singing and speech and fairly complex drum beats and a lot of sampling stuff going on, which is a genre that I have a particular fondness for, I would say. Added to this, so it's kind of partly acid jazz, but not completely, partly kind of house, but not completely, somewhat poppy as well. So it's a bit more accessible than some of the more, I don't want to say extreme, but some of the more pure versions of those. Add to this dreamlike vocals. So mostly, as I said, this is Sarah Cracknell, and it's slightly kind of distant and reverb to make it kind of sound ethereal. So the resulting sound, I would say, is very of its time, but is still a pleasant sound to listen to. My favourite track on the album is probably Girl 7. Well, it's VII, so I presume it's 7. And that's because of the spoken word section, which is basically it's a list song, and I love a good list song. But I particularly like the spoken word bit on this. The singing is okay. She's got a nice sound to her voice. Sometimes she's not 100% on the notes, I have to say. Lyrics, some of them are okay. Some of them kind of made me wince a bit. They're a bit corny and cheesy. I decided it's best not to really focus and listen on the words too much, I would say. So overall, it's okay. And, I mildly enjoyed it, but not hugely. And given how kind of suddenly popular they were at the time, I expected something that was a bit more enduring than this. So I think I've got one of their tracks, I don't know what, on a compilation album that was on the cover of a magazine, and I was aware that they were talked about on the radio quite a bit for a while, and I thought, oh, they're really well thought of. Well, they were really well thought of. I don't know what's up now. But it just feels a bit. When I say dated, I don't want to say that it's kind of suffered badly, but it does kind of sound like it was a bubble of sound, of a particular sound at that point in time. So it feels kind of transient and of its time, in my opinion. But as I say, I reasonably enjoyed it. I just wasn't blown over by it particularly. So that's what I think of this album. I'd love to know what you think. So please do tell me, especially if you're going to set me right on how amazing this album is. I'd love to hear from you if you're a big fan. But anybody else, any opinion is welcome on my channel, so please do let me know by leaving me a comment in the comments, and that's it from me for now.